Evan Rawal. AJ likes to really go Rawal. So
yeah. People have fun with it.
Good. I hope you're okay with having fun with it.
I'm used to it.
It's okay. People call me Red Nose all the time, so fair is fair. This is the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by The Green Solution. You can visit any one of their 17 Colorado locations and head to their express checkout to be in and out in minutes. Or you can go online and order it to get shipped directly to your door. You can use code DNVR2019 to get 20% off your purchase. The Avs are now 5-0 in a game that felt really easy until it didn't against the Washington Capitals. Evan, you got to love the first period at least.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, when you get up 4-0, it's just natural that you're going to step off the gas a little bit. So
of course.
I don't look too much into, what happened the rest of the game just because it's just you're in another team's barn. They're going to eventually pick it up. They're not going to want to get their butts kicked right the entire game. So, the first 10 minutes was just out of control. Every shot was going in. Literally every shot was going in.
Every shot against Braden
Holtby wasn't stopping anything. They were just a machine, and it's everyone's scoring right now, and that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, that's kind of the craziest part for me is washed under all of the game. I didn't even mention the first two goals were both defensemen. Erik Johnson and Nikita Zadorov, both their first goals of the year, so nobody's missing.
No, nobody's missing. And I mean, I look at that Erik Johnson goal, and I think if that was me or anyone else, I would have walked into that and just wound up and ripped it, and he just let a wrist shot go low to the ice. It was a really smart shot and ended up going in, and then you got the Zadorov goal, which was from some other dimension. I mean, it was a spinorama. It wasn't the fastest spinorama you're ever going to see, but went in, and luckily he didn't kill MacKinnon when he took the shot.
MacKinnon knew to get out of the way. Yeah. Clearly, he got some hops on that one.
Yeah, I wonder if they can do the PNT can do a vertical.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly 27 inches of whatever off the ice. But the best part of it was, for me, is that they were created by the forwards, but it was a defenseman jumping up into the rush, right? The Zadorov goal was MacKinnon to Rantanen over to Zadorov, and then the Johnson one was Burakovsky and Kadri doing the work. So it's still those top lines getting involved.
Absolutely. And even if you watch the first goal, Donskoy's back covering because Ian Cole, I think that was his second shift.
Yeah.
He joined the rush, and he kind of created some space there where Johnson just had all the room in the world. So everyone's getting involved right now. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the goals, but you mentioned Ian Cole. His first game back, obviously, back incredibly quickly. If I'm being honest, he was pretty invisible in the game, which is fine for a first game back off of a double hip surgery, but is there still some process to go there?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was pretty good, but obviously if Ian Cole is invisible, that's probably
he had a good game, right? Yeah.
He was +3. I know he was out there for, like I said, he helped create that first goal.
Yep.
And Bednar obviously is happy to have him back because it felt like he was on the ice for the last 4 minutes of the game. So it's good to get everyone back healthy. He's a little bit more stable than Barberio, who we saw already one game. He looked really good. Next game, kind of all over the place.
Definitely on the roller coaster, yeah.
So it kind of stabilizes things, and honestly, I'm at the point where I kind of expect Ian Cole to be Cale Makar's partner very soon.
Yeah, we saw in the Arizona game, Bednar really, really shied away from that Zadorov-Makar pairing, and he didn't have to really shy away from anyone in this game. The Avs, it got adventurous, but they never trailed. Mm-hmm. Even so, EJ played 26, 27 minutes or something like that, so Bednar still does have that tendency to lean on those veteran-type guys.
Yeah, and they did bench that Makar-Zadorov pairing towards the end of the second period where I felt that was a whole team breakdown on that second goal. I didn't think that
wasn't on Z at all, in my opinion.
On either of those guys. Yeah. Kadri went to forecheck, I think, and then Burakovsky and Donskoy kind of got mixed up on covering the third forward down low there. So it was just a whole mix-up, but I think they're a wild card pairing. We saw it with Zadorov and Barry, and now you switch Barry out with a rookie and Makar, and it's just kind of going to be the same thing. So I don't honestly expect that pairing to last much longer, and I think Ian Cole's going to be the safety blanket there.
Right, and I mean, obviously you want to get Makar that ice time. 6 assists in 5 games, on the verge of tying the rookie defenseman record to start a season in points. That's in a lot of ways like MacKinnon. It still feels like we haven't seen his best hockey as well.
Yeah, I thought the Arizona game was probably his best game. Last game you could kind of see he tried to do a little too much. He had a couple turnovers at the offensive blue line that ended up leading the rushes the other way, which is kind of the stuff that freaks out the coaching staff. So pretty scary that he's got 6 points in his first 5 games, and we're thinking, well, he's still figuring it out, which he is, and that's just how good he can be.
Right. And the impressive part there, I think, is how strong he can be offensively while still learning the game at the NHL speed defensively, because certainly the weaker side of his game has been on the defensive end, and that I expect to continue to improve, but then at any moment he picks up 2 assists on you.
Yeah, and I think he's generally been pretty good on the breakout. The problem is he'll just kind of do some risky things,
for sure,
which he gets caught with, maybe at the offensive blue line. So you can see he's still helping the team a lot out with the breakout, even when he's not at his best. And
given that the role he's replacing is Tyson Barrie, no doubt they are not worried about the risky moves that he tries to make offensively.
No, I think they know it's coming and they expect it.
All right, let's flip over to my first star of the Avs game against Washington. Nazem Kadri finally had the breakout kind of everyone was waiting for. It really did feel like he got that first goal against Arizona, and then all of a sudden everything started to flow for him.
Yeah, and we talked about it on yesterday's pod that even strength he needs to start producing, and he wasted no time doing that.
Roughly 5 minutes.
Yeah, he had a couple points within the first 7 minutes, and then by the first 10 minutes he had 3 points.
Yeah.
So getting on the board at even strength is, it's probably going to be a big boost for him. He kind of got caved in terms of possession. I don't know what was going on there, but the play on the Johnson goal was really nice, just the type of patience he used to pull up there and create some space, and then I know Holtby wasn't stopping anything, but it was a nice shot on his goal. Anytime
you go posting in, it's a good shot.
Yeah, and shout out to Donskoy with that pass.
Yes.
Full cross ice. If Kadri has to slow down at all, that goal probably doesn't happen. Instead, he hits him in stride, and it's smooth sailing from there.
Exactly. And it was kind of a weird game. Obviously Holtby didn't save a single thing, but then Samsonov comes in, and immediately on the power play, the Avs pick up another one.
Yeah. And really, I think, honestly, we've talked about MacKinnon not being spectacular, so I thought that was probably his best game. He showed the signs of dominance that we kind of expected. It wasn't really off the rush. It was just more his puck control in the zone, things like that, and he did it on the power play. He didn't get an assist on that goal, but he played a pretty big role in it. But, 4 goals in the first 10 minutes. I guess you could technically have better starts, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah, right. And MacKinnon did end up with 2 points in that game at the end as well, so it did shine through a little bit on the score sheet.
And once he gets that, he technically hasn't really beaten a goaltender yet.
Yeah,
he had the empty net goal, and then he had the tap in behind, was it Halak? First goal. So I feel like once he actually gets one past the goaltender and blows it by it, the floodgates are just going to blow open.
Yeah, it always does feel like MacKinnon is on the verge of just exploding, right? It's hard to contain a skill like that.
Yeah.
And continuing down the lineup, the Avs' depth, finally the real depth, the third and fourth line, weren't quite as effective in this game. I would say the fourth line in particular maybe disappeared a bit more. They still kind of do their thing. In a game like this, it's hard to read into the metrics, right, because of the score effects are so big. But you did see Tyson Joe stand out in that bottom 6.
Yeah, and it sure sounds like Bednar is committed to him being a center, and he's proving that to be the right decision.
Yeah.
A really smart read on that goal that really, that goal pretty much ended the game. It killed Washington.
Yeah.
You could feel the momentum just die right at that point. So that line had good shot metrics even with the score effects coming into play. So I think that line did a lot. The fourth line has slowed down, which you're not expecting your fourth line to score 2 goals every 3 games. So it's expected to be there, that they're going to slow down. They're still grinding it out. Obviously, they're looking to play a big role in the penalty kill. All 3 of those guys are playing on the penalty kill right now.
Yep.
Belmar's face-off struggles are a little bit of a surprise at the moment.
Yeah, they're continuing.
He's that's kind of what he was brought in for, and he lost the face-off right before that Ovechkin goal. So you hope to see that improving. I mean, given his history, you expect it to turn around pretty quickly here.
Yeah, Avs face-offs have for a long time been a reason that I drink. So time to acknowledge Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Today we have the Avalanche Amber for you. What better choice to go with when the Avs are 5-0? It just makes sense, doesn't it? They also have a number of other beers, whether it's the Strawberry Sky that we talked about earlier today on the DNVR Sports Podcast. Really, you cannot miss with these guys. Pick a beer of theirs, and I have enjoyed it so far. And even if you're picky, I guarantee they have a beer for you. You cannot go wrong. You just have to find the right one. So you can keep an eye out for Breckenridge beers at your local liquor store, or keep an eye on thednvr.com for our Breckenridge event calendar, where we have all of our game parties planned. In fact, we have one coming up tomorrow. The Avs are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. It is on NBCSN, so it will be broadcast to everyone, and we are heading over to the Ice House Tavern to watch it. It starts at 5 p.m. We'll have a ton of Breck brews there. We'll be hanging out. We'll be drinking. I will 100% be there. Evan is going to try and make it as well, and we're even going to have guys like, I think Drew Kreisman is coming as well. It's just going to be an awesome time that we can celebrate the Avs and try to keep that team undefeated, hopefully, as MacKinnon faces off against his buddy Sidney Crosby, which always makes for a good time. All right, we'll get to Pittsburgh in a minute. I do want to stick with this Washington game and where the Avs are right now a little bit. Philip Grubauer gave up 3 goals, made some very nice saves to secure this win, but the Avs did have to lean a little bit on another offside challenge to secure it at the end.
Yeah, and it really was a fairly obvious offside call
The
point where almost it seemed like half the guys on the ice stopped playing.
Right, they did.
Which you don't want to see, especially given how open Carlson got for that goal. You don't want to see that the players just give up, but Grubauer, it's been something that has continued to start the year. He just gets better in the second half of a game.
Yeah.
And he looked great again yesterday when he wasn't trying to poke check
right.
anyone, and which, I know AJ already jinxed it. He brought it up the other day that he hasn't been doing that this year.
And he went for it twice and lost
against
both
his old
times.
team,
yeah.
where they kind of probably expected that to be coming. So he got burned there, but everything from Grubauer so far this year has been very encouraging and very calm in net and locking it down when he needs to.
Yeah, I'm 100% with the Avs being a better team in the third period this year. They have struggled to hold their leads, but again, I said this on last show as well, I think they've never actually relinquished the lead once they've gained it. It's gotten to tied, but they've never fell behind.
When you want to be in control of all your destiny, and that's what the Avs have been doing all season long. So, and they've been doing it when they probably haven't played their best. They haven't played a full 60 minutes, so to be able to just turn it back on is a good sign, but also a sign that there is room for improvement.
It's nice when you can basically play 20, maybe 25 minutes of a game against a team that won the Cup 2 years ago and still win 6-3.
Yeah, and doing it early in the season is fine. You'd rather they not be doing this at the end of the season, because then you'd be a little bit worried about how this is going to translate to the playoffs. But to be able to get these points when you're not playing your best is a real boon, because it kind of separates you, because the Central Division right now is not looking too great.
Really, a lot of teams are struggling.
Dallas was supposed to be good, and they do not look good right now. Minnesota, we all obviously
not
them
good.
To be poor. Chicago really hasn't played that many games, but they haven't looked great either. So we all expected 5 teams to come out of the Central Division, and it could still happen, but so far it's not been as good as we probably expected.
Yeah, and the Blues clearly prove that at any moment you can turn it around, but Nashville is really the only team outside of the Avs that is off to the start that everyone looked at them and said, yeah, this is what they should be doing.
Yeah, and Minnesota got their win yesterday against Ottawa.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone actually cared that game happened, so I'm not sure it counts, but I guess technically it counts, but it doesn't really count that much.
Was it worth it to give Minnesota their first win so that Edmonton could lose and the Avs are the only undefeated team remaining?
Yeah. I guess I looked at the strength of schedule, and Edmonton's got one of the weakest schedules so far. So what the Avs are doing is a heck of a lot more impressive than what Edmonton's doing. So it's nice, but, let's keep it going.
Yeah, the Avs being 5-0, 3 of those teams were playoff teams last year, including Boston being a Cup finalist. Yeah. So they've had some legit wins on the schedule so far.
And Washington, who I picked to be in the finals this year, who I need their goaltender to figure it out at this point now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, do you just go with Samsonov?
Yeah, it's only been, I guess everyone has played more games than the Avs, so it seems like it's earlier in the season than it is.
Right,
but,
I know.
I think he did this 2 years ago when Grubauer took over, so I think as long as they make the playoffs, he'll probably figure it out.
He just takes time off until it's playoff time to win games that matter.
Yeah, it's a real veteran move, like Colin Wilson taking all the camp off.
Missing preseason, basically. Well, I mean, let's talk about that conversation as well. With Cole coming back, it was thought that Compher was really just day-to-day, but now he's been put on the IR. Nichushkin has seen his minutes reduced pretty significantly, so that's the assumption is he's going out and Compher will come in when he's ready. But on top of that, with Jost playing so well at C, there's a lot of questions right now in how the Avs bottom six starts to shape up.
Yeah, and the other wild card in all this is I don't think Jonas Donskoi has practiced in like a week.
Yeah.
He just continues to miss practice because he's so beat up.
Yeah.
So having this many extra forwards is kind of a benefit there that they might be able to give him a night off if Compher's actually good to go. I just replace a right shot with a right shot there. And he's a winger. I guess that's where Compher, it would seem, would be going back in. So it gives you that benefit there. It would make sense that Nichushkin's the guy coming out. He just, after those first 2 games, he's looked a little bit more like the guy last year that couldn't score any goals. He missed a couple chances yesterday. He's getting the puck taken off of him very easily on the rush, which you wouldn't expect for a guy who's, if you ever stand next to this guy, he is an absolute monster. And puck should not be taken off of him that easily. So Compher replacing him makes a lot of sense, assuming everyone is healthy. And it adds, I would say, a little bit more skill and finishing ability to that line.
Is this it for Kamenev? Even if Compher comes in, they need to waive someone. Would they consider Nuke, or is it really just Kamenev that you're staring at there?
Sure doesn't seem like it's going to be Nichushkin, just given they're playing him. They've kind of taken him off the power play, but he's playing on the penalty kill. So it would sure seem like Kamenev's in a real tough spot. And given how much they like Bowers, I'm not sure that there's much of a future for him here, but all it takes is a couple injuries to get in the lineup and prove your worth. Most teams don't carry 14 forwards, so what the Avs are doing right now is a little unusual. And the fact of the matter is the guy's 23 years old. He probably needs to get into a couple games here at some point. I do wonder if the Avs start to look at a conditioning stint and see if that's a possibility to get him some games in. And if nothing else, maybe that gets some value up around the league. Because I could see somebody giving up a low pick for him.
Something, yeah. The old, he was totally hurt, needs to go to the AHL.
He's a good prospect who's had some bad luck.
Yeah,
very There's got to be some team around the league that's thinking that. So,
yeah, and even if it's one of those scenery change type trades or something, you get something out of it is better than just him wasting away on the bench all year and then going unsigned.
Yeah. And I like Kamenev. It's really unfortunate that he continues to get hurt. It seemed like he was finally figuring it out in the NHL last year, and then his shoulder blew up again. And it's just now he's back to square one on an even deeper team. So it's a tough situation for him. Right now the Avs kind of just have an abundance of forwards, and he's in a tough spot. So they could realistically just hold on to him as long as they want to. It's just a matter of do they want to do that or do they want to try to get some value out of this?
All right, so let's just kind of close things up for this Capitals series. The Avs get their first road win. Obviously, the first period is a huge positive. Where can they stand to improve the most?
It's tough to say because, like
it's
I said,
hard to pick. Yeah,
you're up 4-0. It's just natural that you're going to step off the gas. It looked like yesterday it was going to be the game where the Avs just kind of take over and blow a team out of the water, and it didn't happen that way. So I would say, I guess maybe stepping on the throats of the other team when you have the chance to. 4-0 is a pretty good indication of that, but just playing, I guess, play smarter. They kind of loosened up a little bit in the second period.
Yes.
It would be nice if Zadorov could stay out of the box. I realize he's getting some big man penalties, but his stick was pretty parallel yesterday.
I'll say this. If Zadorov is going to go into the box against that Washington team, make it count, because they were running around on the Avs a little bit when it got out of hand, and Zadorov can end that with one big smash.
Yeah, they definitely turned up the physicality, and it seemed to turn the game a little bit. Wilson was taking some runs. Ovechkin got Girard.
Yep.
Very clean hit. There's nothing wrong with it. But that's stuff that can turn around the game, and that's what you want Zadorov there to do. You don't want him taking hooky penalties because you can live with the physicality penalties.
Right, exactly. So we'll go ahead and call the second segment there. We'll come back in a second here with what to expect out of this coming Pittsburgh game. But first, you know what's so great about our DNVR family? Not only do we have that watch party coming up, but we now have multiple subscribers that have partnered with us to help promote their business. Chad with Houselift has an incredible service for you. If you or your friends are thinking about selling your house, but it's not in the best condition, go to houselift.com. Houselift can assist in eliminating all of the stress of the remodeling process, and they can show you how to maximize your profit. Get this, there are zero upfront costs from you if you're thinking about remodeling with Houselift. That's right, you won't pay for any of the upfront costs for the remodel until your house closes. Houselift will handle everything from the contractors to the design while managing all of the costs. Here's what you need to do. Head over to their website or Facebook page. You can find both at houseliftcolorado.com and check out the incredible remodels Houselift has done for other homeowners here in the metro area. In past jobs, Houselift has helped put up to $60,000 back into their clients' pockets when it comes to remodeling and then selling the homes. You can call 303-885-7888 today and find out what Houselift can do for you. Oh yeah, if you hire one of Houselift's preferred realtors, they'll sell your home without charging a listing commission. All right, final segment here with Nathan and Evan. They've handled Washington, gets the monkey off the back a little bit, winning the first road game, so that's pressure's off there. Being 5-0, you can afford to kind of handle whatever this road trip throws at you, and right off the bat, that's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, and nationally televised game. Everyone could finally watch the game. Yeah. Sidney Crosby versus Nazem MacKinnon. You know, I said that's probably his best game, and you'd mentioned that he's probably going to be pretty hyped up for tomorrow. So I would anticipate that he's going to have a big game. You know, we talked about it a little bit last podcast. Pittsburgh's kind of beat up right now, but it just hasn't slowed them down at all. They scored 14 goals in the last two games somehow. A bunch of guys I've never heard of before. So that's typically how they do. They usually find these guys that come out of nowhere and just become big scorers for them, just like Jake Gensel just kind of blew up a couple years ago. So that's what the Avs have to look for. Sidney Crosby is playing very well. I think he's pretty sick of hearing about McKinnon and McDavid being the best players in the world. He doesn't want anyone to forget about him. He's off to a really good start there. So the Avs can expose that defense that they have just because it's a lot of no-name guys and Jack Johnson, who nobody really wants.
Might as well be a no-name guy.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, he's got a big contract, but the Avs can definitely expose that, and given the way that things are going, they can expose it 4 lines deep. So
right, I think the 4 lines deep is the key there for me. For years and years, the Avs lineup would look at the Pittsburgh lineup and go, we're going to get bopped by that depth. But now, not only the Avs' depth and familiarity with the team and guys like Kadri and Burakovsky coming from the East, but Malkin out 6 to 8 weeks. Or maybe it's even longer than that. I forget. But Malkin is out.
Just says long term.
Yeah, okay. So either way, the Avs don't have a number one center playing as their or rather the Penguins don't have a number one center playing as their 2C. And the Avs now have a very, very real 2C and a second-line winger that has gotten off to a very strong start.
I'm ready to eat crow on Burakovsky. I was not a big fan of that trade, and right now I can't say anything really bad about him. He looks great. He's shooting the puck, which he needs to do. He's got a big-time shot, and he's been very, very good with the puck. There was a play late in the game yesterday where he had the puck along the boards in the third period. He could have panicked, just whipped it out the boards. He just waited, let the play come to him, and then he got it out the zone, Kadri, for an easy exit. So just simple plays like that. They don't seem that big, but ultimately they do kind of play a big role in good teams being good. So I've been very impressed with him, and I guess the issue with him has always been consistency, so you just hope he can keep this up. Maybe not a point per game, but at least keep up the play. And
it's certainly a stark contrast when he gets put on that second line and put in situations where his teammates clearly trust him, as opposed to playing next to MacKinnon in training camp, and MacKinnon's like, I don't know. We're not doing this.
Yeah, and you can see he's confident, so you wonder if that's been an issue for him over the years. Obviously, the coaching staff in Washington, his ice time fell pretty dramatically over the last few years, so just finding a coach who, and Bednar's said a lot of nice things about him, so finding a coach that will, hype you up a little bit and get you going is maybe something that he needed.
Has he said as many nice things as he has about his long-lost son, though?
No, I mean, not really. Nobody beats Shane Bednar.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, yeah, right. Shane's got to be like babysitting his kids during training camp or something, right? But
I don't know if Bowers is old enough to babysit yet.
Yeah, he's 20. I mean, I babysat at 16. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bednar's kids got to be a little older.
That's true. They right, because Calvert babysat him back in the day. Anyway, back on topic. Pittsburgh is a weird team this year. I don't really know where they are as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned, because they seem to be coming off the downhill from their previous cup runs a couple years ago. They've made some interesting choices with signings. You already mentioned Jack Johnson. Mm-hmm. They have Tanev for eternity.
Years.
Yeah.
Gabranson.
But as you said, even with some of these guys, they are just pouring pucks into the net, and the Avs have certainly been weaker on the defensive side so far through this season.
Yeah, and I think Sullivan just has to play an up-tempo game where he knows that they're probably not going to lock anything down. So just let your offensive guys go to work, and like I had mentioned earlier, they keep finding these guys that kind of come out of nowhere that add some depth scoring for them. So a lot of people did expect them to maybe take a step back. I haven't heard much about Galchenyuk and what he's been doing there.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah,
I know the big plan was to have him play with Malkin, but I have not heard a whole lot about him. So really don't even know how he's doing there, but when you have Sidney Crosby, I guess that kind of cancels a lot of things out.
Yeah, turns out one of the best players in the world kind of just carries you sometimes.
Unless you're Edmonton most of the time.
Well, I mean, this year so far so good. But
yeah, maybe this is the year.
Hey, look, if Edmonton wants to get into a wild card spot, I'll take that matchup if I'm the Avs.
Yeah, with all their wingers that no one's ever heard of. So eventually you think that'll fall out. So
they've already handled Mike Smith once, so I mean, let's make it happen. That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. Either way, though, I think we probably picked a good game for a watch party, given the two very high-octane offenses with a lot of scoring capability there.
Oh, yeah. And it's the Avs are a confident team right now, so you just hope that they can continue this, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't think this Erik Johnson, it was the first game he's played 27 minutes. I don't want to see that become a regular thing moving forward, just because that's the type of thing that can just wear him out and eventually potentially lead to an injury there. So got to keep him a little bit, I guess, not as busy as he has been, or at least he was last game. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But Should be a fun game. Like I said, Pittsburgh plays an up-tempo game. We know how the Avs like to play. It should be at least exciting and a good national. Is it rivalry night?
Technically, yeah. Even though this isn't a rivalry at all, but
a rivalry between two guys that drove a Zamboni through Canadian City this summer.
Literally trained together and are best buds. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a real battle.
All right. I do think some of that EJ stuff, was it a little bit of protecting Sammy maybe after he gets run by Ovi?
And it could have been protecting Makar too, because I'd have to look at the ice time, but I think Makar only played like 4 minutes in the third period too. Mm-hmm. So Bednar gets a little overprotective when he trusts certain guys, and I think that might have come into play yesterday. I'm not sure Erik Johnson needed to play 27 minutes or MacKinnon played 25 minutes in a game that you were up 4-0 at some point. So I'm not sure that those minutes were necessary, but I guess he's going to do what he's got to do to win the game.
The idea is he doesn't have to do that to win the game, but very true.
I don't think he needed to, but coaches, they like to put the guys out there that they trust, and I think that's just what happened.
Okay. The Avs are still undefeated. I'm going to say that every single show until it's not true. Final thoughts, the rest of this road trip, anything you want to shout out with the Avs?
Not really. I think Francouz is probably going to get one of these games this weekend. Both those teams are high octane. I think it'll be either the Tampa game or the Florida game. I'm not sure which one he's going to get. Either way, he looked good last game, so you got to have some faith there. Other than that, I mean, we said 3-3 would look good on this road trip, and they're off to a good start. And let's maybe aiming a little higher, 4-2.
Oh, hey. I mean, it's been a long time since I've looked at something and gone the next day and said, maybe it's actually better than we thought. So definitely a good feeling as we're teaching Drew Kreisman, let's do that hockey. We're going to get out of here. Thank you, as always, for listening to the live viewers. An extra special thank you and hello to the camera. We'll be back next week with another live show. We'll be back tomorrow at some point. I don't know. We'll figure it out what time we're doing it with the live watch party. So if you can't catch the podcast, just come down and talk to us in person. But thank you for listening, and you will hear from us tomorrow.